Saskatchewan's premier candidate for Coach of the Year honors, Joe Farragelli, who has adopted a highly successful quarterbacking system, starting Joe Barnes, a strong runner and capable passer. And then going to passer deluxe John Hufnagel, who until last week against Hamilton had been producing scintillating comeback victories. Frank Bush is certainly the East leading contender for Coach of the Year. And when asked about the Ticat improvement, Frank always points to one of the smartest quarterbacks in football, Tom Clements. He had great success going to Canadian Rocky DiPietro, the leading receiver in last week's game. Live from Ivor Wynne Stadium, the CFL on CTV presents two vastly improved teams, Saskatchewan Roughriders fighting for a Western playoff berth, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who have clinched first in the East.
CTV Sports presents Canadian Football. Brought to you in part by Brute, the classic in men's fragrances. By Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time. And by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of OV and the Carlsberg family. The CFL on CTV.
Carling O'Keefe, your box seat to the CFL. From kickoff to sign-off, Carling O'Keefe is bringing home the best. This year, the CFL features a full interlocking schedule. There are new stars and familiar favorites in what promises to be the best CFL season yet. Catch all the action from your home box seat. Carling O'Keefe, bring the CFL home to you.
About fans, the Saskatchewan Roughriders most certainly are the greatest fans in the West. They have proved it year after year. And as a result of their loyalty, they make it tough for the teams that move into Taylor Field. And there is no question that the West is duplicated in the East by the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because the Hamilton Tiger Cat fans are really the pick of the East. And they make it tough on the opposition. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Stevenson, along with Pat Marsden and Mike Wadsworth, and welcome to our CFL on CTV game. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Well, with me, we have the Hamilton Tiger Cat fans. As I said, there's no question that they are number one in the East. They make it as tough on the opposition here as you Saskatchewan Roughrider fans do when you're out there. Here they've got a theme song, and it says, "Eat 'em raw," and they're not kidding when they say it, because they are tough. This section I'm sitting in has had fans that have been around here for years. The two ladies in front of me, as a matter of fact, date back many, many years, as they have been following football since the Fritzie Hansen days. Well, now, let's find out about the teams, now that you know how tough the fans are. We're going to go upstairs to Pat Marsden and Mike Wadsworth.
Well, thank you, Bill, and hello again, everybody across Canada. Wherever you're watching, we trust that you're enjoying a happy Thanksgiving Day. Michael, it'll be a happy Thanksgiving Day for the Saskatchewan Roughriders if they can avenge last week's 30-26 loss to these same Hamilton Ticats. But I suspect they're going to have to do some things differently, because really Hamilton dominated them in the first half last week.
Pat, I think this afternoon we're going to see a passing duel once again between Tommy Clements with Hamilton and Hufnagel and Barnes for Saskatchewan. Defensively, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have to play the same type of aggressive blitzing game that made them a real contender in the West this year. Lyle Wozniacki and Vince Goldsmith have to come through with big efforts and put more pressure on Tom Clements. Offensively, sit in behind that good offensive line that has given Hufnagel and Barnes protection and work against a disciplined kind of zone coverage that Hamilton employs. They try to play percentage defense. If Saskatchewan can just show a little patience and work against them slowly, but working in the air, that's where they could have success, and I'm looking forward to the game.
Well, there's no doubt about it that it should be a great one. John Hufnagel is going to start today at quarterback, and when I was asking Coach Joe Farragelli about it, I said, why does he start? He said, well, he wasn't very happy with his performance last week. John himself wasn't happy, and he said, he asked me, can I take over right at the start? And he said, why not? He said, Joe, of course, will play.
And also, Hufnagel came in at a point in time when Hamilton had such a commanding lead and had just jumped on top of Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan's defense can't allow that to happen, because the Hamilton defense is too tough to come back against.
Well, we're just moments away from the opening kickoff, but right now, it's the national anthem.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats are all set. We'll have the opening kickoff in just a moment.
Day for this Thanksgiving Day encounter, as Lorne Woods will be our referee this afternoon. Kickoff for the Hamilton Ticats. Emmanuel Tolbert is deep, so is Dwight Edwards, and Edwards will field it from his 3-yard line. Good coverage by that Hamilton unit as they contain Edwards inside his 20-yard line. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who need a win here today to move back into a tie with the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for that final playoff spot in the Western Conference, will start this way. John Hufnagel, as we mentioned, is the quarterback, with Lester Brown and Greg Fieger in his backfield, and a lot of people who can catch the football, including Emmanuel Tolbert, and of course Chris DeFrance too. Hufnagel quickly puts it up to Tolbert, and he's ridden to the ground by David Shaw at the 29-yard line, which will leave him about a yard short of that first down. But the Riders come out throwing, and we anticipate they'll do an awful lot of it this afternoon.
3 receivers to that side. They also had Joey Walters and Fieger came up. And here's a look at that Hamilton defense. The strength of it definitely in their linebackers, led by Ben Zambiazzi, but also a very strong secondary with David Shaw, number 37, being the premier back in that area.
Well, as a matter of fact, Tolbert did pick up the first down, and the ball is placed at the Saskatchewan 30-yard line, 1st and 10 from that point, and this is Lester Brown. And there was good penetration by Mike Samples, along with Grover Covington, who actually was in there first. Grover Covington, number 66, was the man who penetrated to bring down the Saskatchewan running back for a loss of 2.
Hamilton Tiger Cats have a good aggressive front line as you take a look at how they'll line up defensively against that fine Saskatchewan offensive line. The defense of Hamilton can play very aggressively because they're backed up so well by that trio of linebackers.
The loss is a couple. It is 2nd and 12 for Hufnagel. Throws it over the middle to Joey Walters, and Walters has the first down as he crosses the 40 to about the 43-yard line. Howard Fields, number 16, and Preston Young, 28, were there to make the stop. The gain is 15 yards and a second consecutive first down for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And a big play on 2nd down as they go to their leading receiver, Joey Walters. He's 2nd in all of Canada behind Joe Poplowski. 69 receptions. You know they'll use him a lot this afternoon.
Ball is placed right at the 42-yard line. It is a first down, Saskatchewan. They fake the draw. Now they give it to Lester Brown. And Brown is forced out by 37 and 6. But that was not the smoothest play that the Riders have run this year. Unfortunately, Brown was able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Saw the kind of people, too, that reacted up. They had Covington breaking off and getting chased from the inside out. Also, Harold Woods and David Shaw. They have a very good, strong defense. It reads extremely well and reacts up. Here's another look at it now. It got all plugged up in the middle with the mix-up there. Covington, 66, will break off, but then you'll see number 6 and 37 come into it as well.
Hufnagel wants to put it up, but will not get the opportunity as Ben Zambiazzi tackles him. The ball comes loose. They rule that the quarterback of the Saskatchewan Roughriders was down at the 52-yard line. There is no fumble. They rule he was on the ground when the ball came loose.
I'll tell you, one of those close calls, and I think it deserves another look. It seemed to me that Hufnagel had his hand stretched out, and as he hit the ground, he lost control of the ball. You judge for yourself now. Zambiazzi coming over was a little shallow in his pattern, but eventually caught up to him. Number 31, there he is. Watch that arm out there. He lost it right away.
It is the first down on the scramble by John Hufnagel. The Hamilton fans not too pleased. The give is to Lester Brown inside, but he was upended by John Priestner, the middle linebacker, who had split the seam and got in and just hit Brown on the ankles. And though Brown was able to fall forward, his advance will only be about a yard and a half. The ball is right at midfield.
Brown is a very capable back, an excellent 4.5-yard average.
Go, David.
But this Hamilton defense pad, I think, a little too strong to irregularity. They're going to have to find it in the air.
Jump, David.
Second and 8. Hufnagel puts it up over the head of Talbert with David Shaw covering. And so for the first time in this ball game, we're going to have a punting situation with Ken Clark coming out onto the field for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Clark, incidentally, averaging 44.5 yards a punt this season. And so back to receive is number 16, Howard Fields, and Steve Stapler, number 3. They stand at the Hamilton 15-yard line. As Clark end here at Hamilton, it has a tendency to change throughout the course of the game. Right now, Clark is punting into it. End over end ball. Fields takes it at the 24-yard line and gets up over the 30 to about the 33. So the Hamilton Ticats will be starting in pretty good field position. We are still scoreless as the Cats get their hands on the ball for the first time. Hamilton nothing, Saskatchewan nothing. We'll be back in just a moment. The Hamilton Tiger Cats get their hands on the football for the first time in this contest. They take over at their 33-yard line. And that's the way they'll line up with Tommy Clements at quarterback, and what an outstanding season he has had. 24 touchdown passes. Clements fires for Stapler. It was high, and he really took a hit from Steve Dennis. Dennis came right through him, did exactly what he had to do, was going to make sure that Stapler, if he was able to get up high enough, was going to pay for it. And so the ball falls to the ground incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. As you look at the Saskatchewan linebacker and defensive halfback brigade, and Mike, what a job these guys have done.
They've done a tremendous job. I love that Vince Goldsmith. I like to see him come in the blitz. He's had 13 sacks this year.
Clemens fires, and the pass goes incomplete. Rocky DiPietro couldn't squeeze it. A good job by Clemens in finding the open receiver. Kenny McEachran was there on the defensive coverage, but Hamilton tries 2 passes. They go incomplete, and so the Ticats quickly will be punting. Incidentally, in speaking with General Manager Joe Zuger of the Hamilton Ticats just a few minutes before this ball game, he is concerned at the fact that the Cats do not run the ball very well. He said it's great to have Tommy Clements, but we've got to be able to find out how we can run this football. We'll watch to see Fraser and Walters return this punt from Bernie Ruoff. This is Fraser at his 26-yard line. And Stewart gets out to about the 34. So that's where the Saskatchewan Roughriders will begin. There is a flag down on the field. But right now, let's go to Bill Stevenson.
Thank you, Pat. Joe Barnes is with me. Joe, I know the Saskatchewan fans especially would like to know what you think you're going to be able to do against the Ticats and what might happen in this series.
Well, it's hard to say. Like last series, you know, we were able to move the ball. John did a good job of hitting the receivers doing hook patterns, and we feel like we can do that. Their cornerbacks and halfbacks give a lot of cushion, and their linebackers, they don't go to their, drop areas. So we feel like we can be able to hook around the linebackers in front of the deep backs.
What was the reason now for the switch of the quarterback start? You normally start, and Hufnagel takes over. Now this is a reversal.
I don't know. Maybe just, different. It's a change, and maybe it'll be a good omen for us.
All right. Thank you, Joe Barnes.
Good, Bill. Thank you.
There was a roughing penalty against Andre Jones, so the Rough Riders will start back inside their 20-yard line. They swing it up the figure. That's a free ball. That was a lateral, and it definitely should be ruled as such.
You know, Pat, I can't believe it, the number of times we've seen that ball thrown behind the quarterback, and 24 football players and a number of officials on the field didn't play it that way.
Well, I mean, there was no doubt about it.
No question. Now, just watch where he stands. Now, he threw it behind him. You can see the back was at least 2 to 3 yards behind Hufnagel, and nobody played it as a free ball. Otherwise, Saskatchewan would be scrimmaging from that point.
So it goes as an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10. Saskatchewan, the ball just inside their 20-yard line. John had no place to go, and he's buried by Grover Covington, number 66. There was tremendous pressure on him from the moment he got the ball, and Saskatchewan will be punting on 3rd and 12 or 13.
We talked about the Hamilton defense.